Right lads and lasses, welcome to Darts Hints, Tips and Advice for Beginners. I think this is video about 13 now. What I want to talk to you today about is dartboards, the actual dartboards themselves. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen the standard dartboard. That's what we play on, that's what we play 501, and that's what we play round the board on, if that's what you're playing cricket and what have you. But loads and loads of people are asking me about practice regimes. These are quite personal, so it's up to yourself. I mean, you can always go and practice on doubles, practice on different trebles. You can do all that sort of stuff if you want. What I would suggest you do, but they're not cheap, is a different type of dartboard. It's what I think a lot of the pros call, and what I call, the practice board. So what I do is I use this practice board and I play on it, I wouldn't say regularly, but if I'm having a problem with muck spreading, which we all go through at times, it's just a difficulty in trying to keep your control over your arrows. What I tend to do is I tend to go onto this board, and what I'll do is I'll just play the game like I normally play, but try and raise my concentration levels, because this board does actually make you raise your concentration levels. So if you're suffering with something that one of the chaps on YouTube, I can't remember what his name is, I think it was the Soldier, said to me was, I'm starting to throw, and after about half an hour, 40 minutes, my darts are tight, and then they're starting to spread out and spread out. I'm starting to muck spread, and I'm getting further away from the targets that I'm trying to hit. So he's getting further away from the doubles that he's aiming at. And my interpretation of that is his concentration levels are dropping. So basically what he's doing is he's playing, he's really concentrating on what he's doing, he's really intent on it, and then as he's been playing, he's starting to get a bit more tired, his concentration levels are starting to drop, and therefore if your concentration levels start to drop, then obviously your arrows start to go less in the direction where you want them to do, less accurately, let's say, because you've got to keep your concentration levels at very high intensity while you're actually playing a game. So this is the board. I'll pick it up now and I'll show you the board that I use as a practice board. Right, now this is the baby. This is the Winmau Blade 4 practice board. Now, as you can see, just hold it up a bit here, as you can see, the trebles and the doubles are half the normal size. Actually looking at them, I think they're even smaller than half the normal size. But this board does actually help you immensely with your concentration levels. I've had this one for probably about 6 months or something like that. I practice on it regularly, but not all the time. Like I say, I use it as a tool, and that's the best way to use this sort of dartboard, or any sort of gimmick, I'm going to say, that you use. If you use Eric Bristow's dart rings, if you use a paper inlay that goes over the dartboard with a little slot out of it for the 60, what that does, exactly the same thing, you can do it with an A4 sheet of paper and just cut a treble size out of it and pin it over. What that's doing is it's taking your peripheral vision away from the other numbers and just allowing you to concentrate on that one area. Playing darts is a game of throwing a dart at a target, so it doesn't matter where that target is on the board. A lot of people say that it's imperative that you're within millimetres of this and millimetres of that and what have you. I go to the pub and people say that dartboard's too low, you measure it and it's 1/4 of an inch. Now hang on a minute, really, if you're throwing a dart at a target, does that really matter? I mean, that only really matters if you're relying on muscle memory to throw your scoring, rather than relying on throwing the actual dart at a target. Now, I do understand that a lot of people out there are going to poo-poo what I say, because they're stuck in the ways. But if you're starting out into Tips and Advice for Beginners, if you're starting out and you get the mechanics and your mindset right in the first place, what you need to do is, like when you go and choose a set of darts, go and choose a set of darts that when you pick them up, they feel the right weight. doesn't matter when you throw them, if they feel right in your hands and you think and you feel comfortable with them, stick with them. Just keep throwing them at the board and it'll improve. Going and doing what Pete Wright's done, and he's ended up back at an old set of darts again. If you look at him, he's ended up back at a set of darts I think that he was using many years ago. Michael Van Gerwen did the same. He changed his darts, and I think it lasted two tournaments or a tournament, and he was back. If you look at the ones that he's throwing now, they look as old as he does. and that's it. They're the darts that he's comfortable with, and that's what you want to be achieving, is darts that are comfortable when they're in your hand. Not nice to look at, not fantastic to look at. It doesn't matter if they've got gold bandings on them or special types of grip. If the grip suits your hand when you hold on to it, and they're comfortable within your hand, then just persevere with them, and you think your darts will improve. If you want to buy yourself one of these, right, windmill, that's absolutely fantastic, and it will help you. It'll help with your concentration. So anyway, thanks for watching Hints, Tips and Advice for Beginners, and don't forget, lads and lasses, toe to the hockey. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Right, lads and lasses, welcome to Hints, Tips and Advice for Beginners. What I've done is I've put the practice board up. We were talking about it in the last video. I was saying about how it helps your concentration and what have you, so I've thrown it up on the wall. I'm going to do a couple of visits to it for you. Just show you what it does. Is it increases your concentration levels, and I just think it's a fantastic piece of practice kit. Like I say, I don't use it all the time, but I do use it on a regular basis when my concentration levels drop. There you go, I'm starting to group them up now. Obviously the bullseye is a much harder target to hit on this one. So what it does is it automatically drags your arrows more and more grouped, makes you concentrate more. Well, obviously you're not going to hit your targets as often as you do on the big board, but if you practice on this one and start hitting your targets on this one, when you go back to the big board, it feels like the difference between playing pool on a snooker table, only with pockets the size that you could fit a football in. There we go. That's a bit more like it, isn't it? So that's what I'm saying, is it owns your concentration, and the longer I play on it, the tighter my darts will get. So if I'm going to a tournament, or if I'm going to play a serious game in the pub that may involve a few quid, then what I'll do is I'll practice on this board for probably the day before, and maybe on the morning of whenever I'm going to go and play the game. And then when I get to the big board, it just makes it a lot easier. 140. See what I mean about it helps you to tighten your finger, tighten your arrows up. So there you go, practice board, genuine 140. Right, thanks for watching. It's tips and advice for beginners, and don't forget, lads and lasses, toe to the hockey.